If you only knew the magnificence of the numbers 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe. Nikola Tesla wasn't just a scientist. He was a visionary, a poet of electricity, a man who didn't see the world as it was, but as it could be. He spoke with light, dreamed in numbers, and built with the energy of thought. To him, every discovery wasn't just an invention. It was a doorway into another dimension of possibility. Today, we live surrounded by waves, signals, invisible forces dancing around us like a silent symphony. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, remotes, microwaves, radio waves. It's a world woven from modern magic, and yet so few ever stop to ask who actually lit the spark, literally. How many truly know who Nikola Tesla was? Have you heard of him beyond the name engraved on an electric car? Beyond the misunderstood genius meme? Beyond the rivalry with Edison? Tesla is one of those figures history quietly pushed to the margins. Maybe because he was too far ahead to be understood. Maybe because he disrupted the order of things. But today we step into his mind. The mind of a man who, as a child, saw thoughts as flashes of light, who built windmills at age 7, and dreamed of harnessing waterfalls. A man who spoke 8 languages, slept only 2 hours a night, and claimed his inventions came to him as complete visions, as if whispered by the universe itself. I'll tell you his story, of course, but not like a schoolbook biography. This will be a journey through his thoughts, his errors, his obsessions, his silent battles against the limits of mind and matter. We'll explore his wildest and brightest ideas, like when he tried to build a tower to wirelessly transmit energy across the entire planet, or when he claimed to be able to create a weapon that would make war obsolete. But above all, we'll uncover why his visions still matter today. Because the world Tesla imagined, a humanity connected by free, clean energy, is closer than ever. And maybe, if we learn to think like him, to look beyond, to dare ideas that seem impossible, we could apply something of that vision to our own lives. Because Tesla wasn't just an inventor. He was a symbol of what happens when the human mind breaks free from conformity. Who was Nikola Tesla, really? Not the name of a car, not an internet meme, but a boy born in 1856 in Smiljan, in what is now Croatia, on a stormy night filled with lightning and thunder, almost as if nature itself was announcing the energy that would follow him all his life. According to legend, the midwife said, "He's a child of the storm," and his mother, without hesitation, replied, "No, he's a child of light." Son of an Orthodox priest and a self-taught inventor mother, he grew up in a household where words and ingenuity carried equal weight. His father, a man of letters, dreamed of a clerical future for his son. But Nikola was drawn to another kind of divinity: science, the hidden mystery behind nature's forces. His mother, though illiterate, was brilliant, building small mechanical devices and possessing a photographic memory, traits Tesla fully inherited. From a young age, Nikola showed signs of a remarkable mind. He experienced vivid mental visions, flashes that made objects appear in his mind as if they were physically present. He could perform complex calculations mentally with ease, spoke multiple languages fluently, and could read an entire book and recall it word for word. But with these superpowers came shadows: chronic insomnia, phobias, hypersensitivity to sound and light, and an inner world so vast and active it often left him isolated and misunderstood. He studied engineering but never graduated, not for lack of talent, but because he deeply disagreed with traditional methods, with imposed formulas, with a science that left no room for intuition. His thinking was too free, too visual, too far ahead to fit in a classroom. In 1884, he emigrated to the United States, leaving Europe behind with little more than a suitcase, a handful of ideas, and a letter of recommendation for Thomas Edison. Their meeting was iconic. On one side, the established inventor, practical, grounded. On the other, a young idealistic genius, head in the stars, hands in the ether. They worked together briefly, but soon clashed. Tesla saw the future in alternating current, capable of traveling long distances with minimal loss. Edison, champion of direct current, saw it as simpler, safer, and, crucially, more profitable. A war began. A real one. With sabotage, smear campaigns, and public demonstrations bordering on cruelty. Edison went as far as electrocuting dogs, horses, and even an elephant named Topsy to convince the public that AC was dangerous. But Tesla didn't back down. He didn't answer with hatred, but with determination. He found a powerful ally in George Westinghouse, and together they brought AC to victory, literally lighting up the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago, the first large-scale event powered entirely by alternating current. It was a triumph, but also the start of a solitary path. His inventions? A list that still sounds like science fiction. The induction motor, the backbone of modern electrical systems. Radio, years before Marconi. Wireless transmission. Neon lights, remote control, and strange, almost esoteric theories about free energy, scalar waves, and interplanetary communication. Tesla envisioned a world where energy traveled through the air the way data moves today. A world where everyone had access to a clean, wireless, free energy source. His Wardenclyffe Tower project on Long Island was meant to make that vision real. A futuristic structure that, according to Tesla, could transmit energy and information on a global scale. But the dream collapsed when investors, including the powerful J.P. Morgan, realized there would be no way to install a meter. If energy is free, who profits? The project was abandoned. Tesla, brilliant but a terrible businessman, began to fade into obscurity. Patents sold for pennies, ideas stolen, projects left unrealized. In his final years, he was seen as eccentric, a curious figure feeding pigeons in New York parks, talking about death rays and dreaming of lightning storms. He died poor and alone in a hotel room in 1943, at the age of 86, still clutching plans for a revolutionary invention no one wanted to hear about. And yet today, his name shines. Not because he sought it, not because he forced it, but because he left behind something far greater than patents. He left a vision. The belief that science should serve humanity, not profit. That progress isn't just technical, it's spiritual. And that behind every glowing bulb, every connected device, every dream of a freer world, there lingers the gentle ghost of Nikola Tesla. What were the beating hearts of his thinking? What were the ideas that haunted his sleepless nights and guided his mind like a wild but precise compass toward the future? Tesla wasn't just an inventor. He was a philosopher of energy, a mystic of science, an invisible architect of worlds we're still trying to build today. His inventions were only the visible surface of a much deeper vision. There are at least 5 ideas we can consider his inner compasses, the unwritten principles behind every decision, every intuition, every battle he fought. First, everything is vibration. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, he said. To Tesla, nothing was truly solid. Everything was movement, oscillation, rhythm. There was no real line between matter and thought. Everything had a frequency. What once sounded poetic or spiritual is now central to quantum physics and modern theories that even influence medicine, psychology, and personal development. Some see him as a precursor to subtle energy models, healing frequencies, and even the law of attraction. For Tesla, tuning yourself to a frequency meant aligning with a reality. Change the frequency, and you change the experience. A thought that, if we reflect on it, holds immense power in daily life. Second, vision before form. Tesla didn't build prototypes like most inventors. He saw. He visualized every detail of a machine, every screw, every rotation of every part. He ran it in his mind, tested it, fixed it, all before drawing a single line or lifting a tool. What we now call creative visualization was his default setting, and it carries a powerful lesson. Mental clarity is the first step to creating anything. Before it exists out there, it must exist in here. Tesla shows us that thought is not abstract. It's already a form of reality. That's where every great invention, every project, every dream begins. Third compass. Energy is abundant. It's not something to be owned, sold, or controlled. It's everywhere. Free. Unlimited. All we have to do is learn how to capture it. Tesla envisioned a world where every home, every village, every corner of the planet could receive energy wirelessly, just like we get Wi-Fi today. His Wardenclyffe Tower wasn't some mad scientist's fantasy. It was a concrete attempt at that idea, transmitting power through earth and sky without cables, without borders. But that vision collided with the real world. Because, let's say it plainly, a world without power bills, without meters, without energy monopolies, doesn't benefit those who control energy. So the project was shut down. Funding disappeared. The tower was dismantled. But the idea stayed. And today, as we talk about renewable, decentralized, sustainable energy, we realize just how far ahead he was. Fourth idea. Genius is discipline. Tesla was known for his eccentricities, but behind every quirk was structure, precision, and extreme focus. He slept only 2 hours a night, always at the same time. He walked exactly 8 laps around a city block before entering a building. He washed his hands a set number of times. He documented everything, every experiment, every dream, every insight. Was he superstitious? Maybe. Obsessive? Probably. But also deeply focused. His routine was a ritual of absolute concentration. In today's world of distractions, noise, and mental clutter, Tesla reminds us that real creativity is born from rigor, that inspiration often comes from order, not chaos. And finally, the fifth compass. Think for humanity. Tesla didn't patent things to get rich. He didn't invent for markets. He invented to serve, to give. He believed science should be in service of human evolution, not the wealth of the few. This idealism made him an outsider. While others grew rich off his ideas, he remained behind. But he never changed course. Even when the world ignored him, he kept building for a future he knew he wouldn't live to see. And that, perhaps, is the most powerful legacy of all. In a time where innovation is so often driven by profit, Tesla stands as a pure symbol of progress, driven by love for humanity. A lighthouse that still calls to us, asking, are you creating to sell or to serve the world? 5 ideas, 5 principles, 5 keys to thinking and living differently. Tesla left us far more than a list of brilliant inventions. He gave us a new way to see reality. And maybe, if we begin to vibrate a little closer to his frequencies, we can still hear his message. So how do we use all of this today, in our real lives? How do we bring Tesla out of books, out of documentaries, off the names of electric motors, and make him a quiet ally in our daily journey? Start with vibration. This isn't some vague New Age idea, it's subtle awareness. What you think, what you feel, what you say, it all emits a frequency. When you walk into a room and feel heavy energy, it's not your imagination, it's resonance. When you talk to someone and walk away drained, or, on the contrary, lit up and inspired, it's because you're tuning to a specific wavelength. Tesla would say, "Want to change your life? Change your frequency." That means making more intentional choices. It means noticing what you feed your mind, what news you consume, what words you speak, what emotions you cultivate. Want a lighter life? Think lighter thoughts. Want to attract beauty? Start recognizing it, naming it, nurturing it. Frequency doesn't change by force. It rises through presence. Then there's visualization, not just closing your eyes and daydreaming. It's about designing internally what you want to manifest externally. Every day, even for just 5 minutes, sit in silence and build your vision in your mind. But make it alive, not some vague wish. See the details, hear the sounds, feel the textures, the colors, the weight. Just like Tesla, who fine-tuned every component of his inventions without ever touching a single piece of metal. If you can construct it inside, you can start to build it outside. That's the first step in any personal revolution. Third, simplify. Tesla searched for elegance in everything. His machines worked not because they were complex, but because they were essential. Today, we're buried in noise, ideas, distractions. But real clarity begins when you cut what's unnecessary, when you organize, when you write down what's in your head and finally see it clearly. Got a problem? Try drawing it. Got a dream? Map it. Every great idea needs a simple skeleton to rest on. Otherwise, it stays vague. The fourth lesson may be the hardest. Believe in your vision, even if no one else gets it. Tesla was mocked, isolated, betrayed, and yet he never stopped believing in what he saw. He had faith in something that didn't exist yet. And that kind of faith is a rare form of courage. If you have an idea, a project, a vision that feels real to you, don't expect others to understand it right away. You don't need them to. What you need is to stay in contact with that vision, to keep working on it, even in the dark. Because anything truly new always seems like madness at first. And often, the brightest ideas spend the longest time in silence before being seen. And finally, act for something greater. Ask yourself every now and then, in the middle of doing, creating, producing, does what I'm doing make something better for someone else? You don't have to be an inventor, a genius, or a revolutionary. But you can be a conscious creator. You can do what you do with intention, with care, with a purpose beyond yourself. You can be a generator of value, of clarity, of light, in a society starving for new frequencies. Ask yourself, if Tesla could see today's world, would he recognize me as an ally or just another consumer? Choose the higher frequency. Choose the clearer vision. Choose simplicity. Choose belief. Choose service. Not to be like Tesla, but to bring into the world what he dreamed of. An energy that liberates, that builds, that inspires. Why is Nikola Tesla still relevant today? Because every time you turn on a light, listen to music through headphones, charge your phone wirelessly, or watch a drone fly, you're touching a fragment of his mind. We live immersed in a world built, literally, from his ideas. Wireless technology, alternating current, robotics, remote control, even the foundations of artificial intelligence, all of it has roots in his vision. But Tesla is relevant for an even deeper reason, because he represents a radically different model of success. He didn't chase fame. He didn't collect cars, houses, or followers. He sought harmony. He sought understanding, contribution. He wanted to change the world, not dominate it. And that, today, makes him more revolutionary than ever. In an age where success is often defined by visibility, numbers, and marketing, Tesla reminds us that the deepest impact can be born in silence. That you can be great without being understood. That you can build the future while the present ignores you. His machines were tools, yes, but they were also symbols. Every invention he created carried a philosophy, a worldview, one of an interconnected universe, vibrant, made not just of matter, but of subtle energy, of invisible fields, of possibilities we've barely begun to explore. His words, "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous centuries," now sound like both a warning and a prophecy. Because we're living in that era, an era where we're rediscovering that mind and matter are less separate than we thought. That consciousness isn't just a byproduct of the brain, it may be an active force capable of shaping reality. That every emotion, thought, intention is also a form of energy. And in all of this, Tesla is still here. Alive in his insights, alive in the technologies evolving from the seeds he planted. But most of all, alive as an example of total dedication, of limitless imagination, of a humanity willing to look beyond. Tesla isn't just relevant. Tesla is future. A future we can build only if we dare to believe a little more in the ideas no one understands yet, in dreams too big to seem real, and in that part of us that, like him, never stopped inventing. So what does Nikola Tesla really leave us? More than a technological legacy, more than a list of extraordinary inventions. He leaves us a challenge, a silent but powerful call, to look beyond the obvious, beyond the noise, beyond the present, to think in frequencies as if every thought could be tuned toward a better future, to create with intention, as if every action, every decision could send a ripple into the world, to stay faithful to our vision, even when no one gets it, even when it seems impossible, even when it scares us. Tesla gives us the courage to be different, the freedom to imagine, and the responsibility to create something that serves not just ourselves, but those who come after us. And if, while watching this video, you felt that little spark inside, a new thought, a fresh curiosity, a burst of inspiration, then Tesla has spoken to you too. Now it's your turn to decide what to do with it. Share this video if you believe others should hear this story. Subscribe to the channel if you want to keep journeying with us into the minds that shaped the world. And leave a comment. Tell us which genius, which brilliant mind, which rebel thinker you'd like to meet in the next episode. Because great ideas don't die. Great ideas sleep. And they're just waiting for new eyes to wake them up. Until next time.